Hello, chat. How are you guys doing? And real quick, just want to clear this up here. He's late. Uh, no, we started at 9, so suffer. Once again, chat, your hubris. Don't let your hubris get the best of you. Don't let it get the best of you. Just don't let it get the best of you. Anyways, guys, welcome to the show. It is Friday night. Thank you for being here with me. Thank you for spending with me. I know that the Chiefs and the Chargers are out there. YouTube is out there shilling it. Various channels get to show the NFL game, which I'm sure if we tried to show, we get nuked. So isn't it interesting how that all works out? Either way, we're going to move on. Welcome to the show, everybody. I am Sean, also known as Potentially Criminal. I'm an attorney in the Cleveland, Ohio area. And tonight we're talking about the big procedural updates in the case between Pxie and Destiny. Now, if you guys remember, Destiny is Destiny the streamer, the Jesse Lee Peterson, that's girl name. That guy. If you guys remember, he is the he's the epitome. Well, I mean, now it's kind of like Hassan and all them are moving ahead of it for him now, but Destiny was the guy on the left who was like YouTube politics, Twitch politics, all that fun stuff. He was the man running the show. And he was the guy to be. He was the guy to deal with. And from here, if you guys don't remember, this is Destiny. Here's his mug. He also has blue hair a lot of times. But that is him. And he is accused of providing... We're going to go through this real quick. And we're going to use a little bit of a whiteboard here. Actually, you know what? We'll use this picture. That'll probably be easier. Okay, you guys can see off to the side. Oh, real quick. Jeez. Unforced ego for $100. Woo! Thank you. That gets a
Was this story based? Yes.
Fight for the future.
I'm doing my part.
I'm doing my part.
I'm doing my part.
I'm doing my part too.
They're doing their part. Are you?
I mean, for $100, like a real red boy, not even the Argentine peso red boy, which, once again, I think No is one of the guys out there. I love it when you do it anyway, man. A red boy's a red boy regardless. I like them Argentine pesos clinking around out there. For $100 doodles, though, it says, my penance for false accusations of late. Well, thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Now, yes, mega based. Thank you, Unforced Ego. Now, before we get too far, guys, we're going to just kind of draw this out a little bit so you understand what's going on here. So you have Pxie, and Pxie is one of Destiny's orbiters, and kind of like, at the time, Destiny had all these female streamers that were kind of in his orbit. Pxie, Cherry, just to name a couple. And they were like Destiny's hoes in a way. I mean, that's why they were there. They were all clout chasing. Well, anyway, Pxie had shared, Pxie was with Destiny, and, there was, some naked pictures we ended up with. So Destiny and Pxie ended up putting together, they ended up with some nudes. So those existed between Pxie and Destiny. Okay? Those existed. And that's fine. People do that all the time. What did Destiny do? Destiny went to somebody named Rose and went like this. Took those same nudes and went, "Ciao. Hi, Rose. From here, Destiny and Rose then shared things between themselves. But what did Destiny share? Destiny shared the thing of Pxie with Rose. Pxie is suing Destiny for that because once Rose got a hold of it, it ended up on the farms and all over the internet. So from there, it went everywhere. And it's not, and we don't really know how it did, but it doesn't matter. The reason why you don't share nudes is because you can't control them once you give them away. Now, we learned a lot since this case has started. One of the biggest things is, and this is something I know Destiny will deny at this point, well, till he, admits it, although it sounds like he's tacitly admitted something. He's admitted some things here. Rose, at the time when Destiny was doing all this, was 17. Which, by federal law, makes it child porn. And remember, guys, it doesn't matter if it's a nudes of a 5-year-old or they're 17 years old and 364 days. It's still a minor, and it's still not allowed. Now, the age of consent might be different, but it's still not allowed. And once again, holy sheesh. Green caps lock for another 99. Whew. Whoa, buddy. You're all. Hold on. He says you're still gay. I changed it. Well, thank you. Thank you, Green caps. I'm still Yes, I'm still gay. Well, thank you. I appreciate that. But yeah, we'll bring that back up. Thank you very, very much. Thank you very much. Thank you for the support, you guys. It's always humbling. It's always humbling. And really, unfortunately, Ego, I forgot to bring this up for you before, because you were trying to be penitent. This is always very important.
Nothing says I'm sorry like money.
It's true. Nothing says I'm sorry like money. Okay. Shredder S07 says his thumbnail's the same face I make when Sean won't play the Doing My Part clip. Well, there you go. I took care of that. Okay. Costi for 20 subs. Let's fucking go tonight, chat. Let's go tonight. Oh, wow. Wow. Thank you for the support, your generosity. Guys, if you got something from Costi, make sure... Oh, hold on a sec. Clyde, come here, bud. Make sure you tell him thank you. I know, just tell him thanks. Tell him thank you. Maddie has been a member for 3 months. Says, give me my Clyde penny. Your Clyde coin? Well, oh, hold on 1 second here. Hold on 1 second, chat. Because you support Clyde and take care of him, you guys.
What that is.
What?
You have multiple esophaguses.
Okay, so
I'll
ask. So 2.0 found a new treat for Clyde. These are cow esophaguses. Although it's multiple, so is it esophagi, but this is like a monster peen for our good little boy. He's such a good boy. And he's been fighting with this all day. He's like, he doesn't know what to do. He's like, put me down so I can chew. All right, I got you, buddy. He's busy. He doesn't want, he's like, I don't need to talk about Destiny while I'm eating beans. He's like, I'm not like Destiny. But thank you for being here, Maddie, for 3 months. Green Caps, or I'm sorry, Whiskey 77 for $10 says, wow, my motion got denied and all I had to do was buy a favorable judgment. That's how it works sometimes, man. That's how it works. Mr. Green is always important. Mr. Green is always important. And once again, Green Caps, thank you again so much for your support, man. Eric Kush says, wait, Pxie was a minor? Yes, it looks like Pxie was a minor at the time Destiny was sharing his images and also sending images to Rose. No, Pxie was not a minor. Pxie's over 18. Like, Pxie is 18 plus. She's like 20 something. So that's fine. You don't have to worry about that. Pxie's 18 plus. Don't worry about that. That's not an issue. Rose was 17, it looks like. And that's a big problem here, Eric. Okay, so don't worry about Pxie. Pxie's an adult. Rose is not an adult. That's our issue. So, yes, Rose is a minor, and we got a problem there. So, Clyde looks like he's walking in the armor of a stormtrooper. Yeah. So I hope that makes sense. I hope that clarifies it. That's so that's the issue here. What do we do? Like, what happens to Destiny here? Well, we brought it the last time. There's, that's a crime to transmit images to, pandering obscenities to minors, taking obscenities from a minor. There's all kinds of stuff with that. There appear to be conversations between Destiny and Rose where Destiny talks about bringing her out, which means if she was a minor, you were trying to entice a minor to come across state lines, you're like, uh-oh, that's a crime. Like, there are ways this is crime after crime after crime after crime after crime after crime after crime for Destiny. So this is not a good spot for him to be in. And Sarah Brown says we need a mind map to keep the whores straight. Yeah, I mean, like, and I know people in J-Stock's, J-Stickles chat were like, what do you call them, BPD whores? I'm like, well, okay, fine. They're just mentally deranged women who are seeking clout. I don't know. Whatever you want to call them, it's what they are. So here's the problem. Here is the problem. Rose was 17, so now that creates problems for Destiny. Outside of this lawsuit. Remember, it's CP. You can't hold on to it. Although, remember, Pxie wants all the communications between Destiny and Rose. Like I said, there's a lot of issues. So, let's get back to the main story. So, that's the basic story in a nutshell. The chain of events. Pxie is seeking to do this, and she's using a law, in federal court, she is using this to, where the hell? Okay, hold on. Where did I go? Chat, hold on here. Let me see here. Oh, I missed it. Okay. What she's using is the Intimate Image Protection Act. It's known as CARDI, and she's suing in federal court under this because now she can use a civil action to go after Destiny in federal court. Oh, and hello, 2.0. Thank you for being here. Great friend of the show. But anyway, she's using this as a means of getting into federal court and suing there. She's also suing under a couple of other regular state law tort theories, but the big issue was for her this here, the civil action relating to disclosure of intimate images. And that's known as CARDI, C-A-R-D-I, like kind of like Cardi B. And when you guys see it in the things, that's what they're doing there, and it's just C-A-R-D-I. Okay, so it's called CARDI. Now, here's the problem that Pxie was facing. CARDI has a date of effectiveness of October 1st, 2022. Anything before that is not protected under CARDI. Everything after that is protected. So the issue was, and this is something that's been going on with Destiny, the Discord logs and whatnot. He's been trying to claim that the European date system is not correct and that it's the things they found, for example, were instead of it saying, you might read this chat as in America, we read this as October 4th, 2022. Okay, we read this as an upcoming thing. This is a month away. In European format, this would be considered the 10th day of March, 2022. Remember, it's how they do things there. And, well, they're saying, or April, yes. Yes, they would call it April 10th. They would say it's the 10th day of April, 2022. I miss EDW super chat. Oh, we're not there yet. We're not there yet. We're gonna get to all of that. Actually, we'll take care of it right now. EDW Raptor says, yes, in honor of Destiny, yes. Today is Happy Cheese Pizza Day, Fat Man. Yes, it is. And if you guys don't know, cheese pizza is a term of art when you're dealing with child porn. Is known as CP, is it abbreviated? And then on the internet, it became known as Cheese Pizza was the nickname. And yes, chat, today, National Cheese Pizza Day is September 5th, 2025. I thought about starting the show eating a piece of cheese pizza, but I was like, yeah, I kind of forgot about that and kind of got sidetracked today. But that would be a fun way to look at it. Yes, today is National Cheese Pizza Day. So get yourself a cheese pizza, chat. A real cheese pizza. Remember, guys, if you're on the internet and someone starts talking about whether or not you like cheese pizza, do not engage. Do not engage. Do not engage. If you fold a pizza, is it a sandwich? I mean, kind of, maybe, depending on how you want to do it. Maddie is saying, could Destiny be charged with something similar to Aaron? You mean the Aaron Imholt Steel Toe Morning Show? If this is in Minnesota, it sounds like yes, but you probably have to find a willing prosecutor willing to engage in that. And I don't, that becomes an issue. It becomes an issue with statute of limitations. It's been a while. I mean, I don't know how it would work out. I think a lot of places would probably punt. But remember, for Destiny right now, his big argument is you guys can't bring this up. And because you can't bring it up, I, therefore, can get this case thrown out of federal court. That's Destiny's big game plan here. Because if he can do all of this and he can show that when he shared with Rose, it was prior to... If he could show it was prior to October 1st, 2022, the case dies. If Destiny can beat this date and show that this happened beforehand, he wins. Now, what did Pxie do in the meantime? Well, Pxie brings up an interesting argument in her motion to amend. And this is where we're gonna kind of catch up to where the saga was so far. Pxie claims that there's another party that Destiny shared things with, and her name was Abby MC. And she claims, and Pxie's claiming that Destiny shared with Abby. And they're claiming that he did this in 2023, which takes care of the Cardi issues. But also, Destiny was allegedly using Google Drive to store all this shit. And by using Google Drive, it's an ongoing disclosure. So in reality, we survive anyway. We can beat the, these claims, because remember, Destiny's been hammering on this almost every motion. There's subject matter jurisdiction issues. She's trying to survive those and at least get the amended complaint in, and then Destiny can try to attack it. And if she can get this information in, remember, to survive a motion to dismiss, you don't have to prove your case at that stage. It doesn't have to be fully proven. You just have to do the bare minimum to beat it. And that's going to be a problem for Destiny. And we're going to go through that and why this is a problem here. John Coleman says, he said, yes, I'm getting married. Well, congratulations, man. Congrats. Congrats. Stabby, no, I did not have time to get your package today. I will be picking up tomorrow morning from the post office. But yeah, John, congrats, dude. Congrats. May you guys well, don't kill each other. But very happy for you guys. Very happy for you guys. Shredder S07 says, a few dollars for your troubles. I moved to table all previous motions for a vote of no confidence in the chair. You haven't been recognized. I don't think you can break in under the rules of order like that. To do that. There's only so many things you could do to jump in. And Daddy's Cop says, I'm an unhinged anti-fan who eats sandwiches. Well, I was never a fan, so that I'm not afraid to admit that. But thank you for the super chat. And then Erica says, you missed the EDW Raptor super chat. Also, hi, Sean. Happy to be here. Well, thank you, Erica, for $10 more. Thank you, Erica. All right, chat. Let's get to this. So I hope I've caught you guys up. I've caught you guys up. I hope that caught everybody up here. And we are ready to move on to kind of where we left off. And when we left off, a bunch of things had been left up in the air. Pxie seeking leave to file her amended complaint. There was a motion for a protective order. There was a bunch of stuff. All this shit had been thrown up in the air. And the court hadn't decided on things. Well, in the meantime, there was another issue. And what do they do here? Well, this is covering something that Destiny, dealing with Destiny here. And we're only bringing this up just because it is something that is documented out there and showed what happened. Pxie filed another motion, and as a motion to show cause, and an order to show cause, why defendant should not be held in contempt and request sanctions. So remember, they're asking him to show cause why he shouldn't be held in contempt. And what did he do? Well, he violated the court orders for the sealing of the transcript. And what are they bringing up here? Well, they're going to talk about what Destiny did here. And they talk about, on June 3rd, they presided over the preliminary hearing. And that's where, the preliminary injunction hearing, not preliminary hearing, but the injunction hearing. That's where we covered it before, where Destiny was wearing his suit and tie. He was talking about, like, how things work in court. He was kind of like, oh, wow, it's interesting. And it's almost like debate broing. That was something he had talked about. And then on June 6th, the magistrate judge granted the motion and directed the court to seal the transcripts. Well, once again, I don't think Pxie's attorneys did a very good job of making sure that was sealed and getting a protective order in place. Once again, I've not been happy with the way they've articulated things. I think they could have done stuff a little better. But at the end of the day, stuff is getting done. And so they talk about on August 12th, in willful violation, Destiny discussed the sealed hearing and read aloud portions of the transcript during a live broadcast on his channel. And they, here is where they kind of like, all the shit gets redacted. And this is where they talk about this hearing here. This is where Destiny sits there and talks for, at length about being in the hearing and stuff that happened there. And they talk about, what did he post and what did he talk about? And he says, oh my God, bro, dude, that transcript. So when I get to read it, there's no shot that it's going to be sealed forever. I mean, maybe. I mean, ultimately, no, he's right. It's not going to be sealed forever. But for now, yes. Now from here, you see like a bunch of this is redacted. They're filing more things that are redacted. And why? Because it's stuff under seal. Since then, the court has sealed all of this. So they say the italicized portion above is Destiny reading verbatim from the sealed transcript. And he says he makes a this is where they claim he makes a farcical pretense of recalling the testimony from his memory by interjecting. Oh shit, chat. All right, hold on here. Sorry. They claim he makes a oh, I'm coming from my memory with this. I'm just recalling some things from my very good memory. That's not gonna work. That's not gonna work here. And anyways, guys, here's the motion. So you can see what's there. I'm sorry, chat. I didn't have the StreamYard set up in the other window yet. Yes, the emails. I know. We're gonna Lou. Pamper tamper. Pamp it down. We're gonna get to that. Okay. This is what they're alleging, though. And he went on and on and on and on about it. And they go on and on and on about it. And they say plaintiff was made aware of the above content on Friday, August 15th. I don't know how the hell, like, the idea, oh, we didn't know about it for a couple days. Like, really? Really? Like, how did you not know? How did you not know here? This is just a bit retarded. I find it. We just learned about it. Like, I'm sure you guys are fucking watching everything he says like a hawk. That's your job. You watch the other party like a hawk, and you find out ways to go after them. Like, it's not. It's just a bit ridiculous. It's just a bit ridiculous, in my opinion. It's just a bit ridiculous. Just the way they're like, oh, we did not know. It's like, just. I don't understand how you didn't know. And they are going on with this, and this is Pxie. They're complaining about this. So they immediately commenced reviewing the matter and determined the extent of the violation. On Monday morning, they became aware that sometime on the 16th or 17th, Destiny edited the video to delete the portion quoted above. However, this effort does not cure the violation that already amassed 4,000 views. Well, it's not only that, but it's the live views, too, that are really the problem. Moreover, an offending portion of the video was posted on the Tiwi forums. It's probably been reposted other places. And yes, you can say see, and they black it out so you can't go see it. Now, they talk about what happened, and they say, and this is what you actually have to do when there are problems. We can say this part's all, tampon wedding or whatever you want to say here. What you do, pursuant to local rules, you have to meet with opposing counsel and say, hey, guys, what the fuck happened? And it's pretty easy to do. So you send them an email. And they say, in an attempt to resolve this issue, we reached out. And that's what you do. It says that Mr. Bretler did not respond to the morning of the 19th. And that's not long. It takes, like a little bit of time to respond to something. You don't have to be like, it's not instantaneous. And I would argue responding within 24 hours is fair. It's more than enough time. It's more than enough time to do that. So this is, this is not that big a deal there. And it says, we looked in the matter, we could find no evidence of wrongdoing. Okay, and that's fair. I don't think he violated the rules. They say they responded by providing the same evidence. That morning, he responded, blithely asserting his client did not violate the court's order. And yes, and this is a very good argument by him. He says, it merely directs the clerk to seal the transcript pending further order of the court. Destiny never filed a transcript on the public docket, nor did he publish a copy of it anywhere. And yes, Destiny has a First Amendment right to discuss the lawsuit your client filed against him. Boom. I think that's correct. There are no restrictions on Destiny's right to discuss what happened. Yes, there is no protective order in place. And I think this part here, as detailed below, Bretler's self-serving interpretation of the sealing order is unsupported by federal legal principles, and so is a lack of respect. Yeah, no. So they talk about the standard for contempt of court, and it's the courts can enforce compliance with their lawful orders, and we're not really worried about that. But it's the issue here about the bad faith, that Destiny acted in bad faith by violating the court's sealing order and should be held in contempt. Now, it says the order was clear and unambiguous. Was it, though? Was it clear and unambiguous? I don't know that it was. I don't know what was. I don't think so. Because when you go back here to June 6th, what does it say? We direct the clerk to maintain the transcript of docket entry 90 as fully sealed, pending further order of the court. Signed by the magistrate. I mean, that's pretty, I mean, that's not very, like, well, that doesn't say anything else. And I think this is a fair argument of, like, it doesn't say what you think it says. And they say bad faith is also evidenced by Destiny's, and you guys remember Destiny's last name is Benell. Explicit acknowledgement of the order right before he discusses the testimony and reads it aloud. Now, yes, when he does his whole, like, well, actually, I have a good memory, ha ha ha. That was cringe. That was cringe. But he did it. Rather, the only reason for disclosing the testimony is to do this for personal profit, to harass, and embarrassment. Well, I mean, this is okay until the court says no. This is okay till the court says no. And this is okay till the court says no. I don't have a problem. So they say that his purported defense has no basis in law or fact. Okay, well, I mean. Anyways, so they say that a sealing order is not a mere administrative measure to keep a document, a PDF off the docket. Well, Destiny's on the docket, so it doesn't work anyway. It's a directive of the court. The substance of the document is not to be disseminated. Yeah, you know what, though? The neat thing here is fucking citation needed. Cite that shit. Cite that. Notice what's not here, chat. Notice what's not here. No legal citation. No legal citation. I understand the argument they're making, and if I was Pxie's attorneys, this is the argument you make. But, you don't have one thing you could throw in the fire that supports you. And part of the issue is, and this is an issue, I've had this issue happens a lot, it feels like. It's kind of like a basic bitch principle of law. Like, you're like, duh, everybody should know this. That has anybody ever actually articulated or argued about it in court? Like, if everybody agrees to something, like, why there's no case law that supports your position? Because there are going to be some issues that haven't been discussed. So ultimately, that's what they want to do. They want to sanction Destiny on this. And so the transcript's just sealed by the court to the public. Yeah. So nobody has access to it. And Destiny's attorney, they file this, and I think they make a very good argument. These are the arguments I think you have to make. And remember, guys, if you don't remember the case captioning, Pxie is known as Jane Doe in this because her legal name, government name, we don't actually know. Stephen K. Benell II, that is Destiny's real name. That's Destiny's government name. So this is done by Andrew Bretler, his attorney out there. They filed a response to all this saying, okay, this is retarded. And really, their arguments, I'm not really worried about all this because we're going to go into his declaration that he filed. But the biggest thing here is, they talk about the introduction, and this is pretty funny here. This is pretty funny. What's the K stand for? Cuck? No, Kenneth, I believe. If you, David Pacman is correct. So it says, a burning court with their seventh motion in just a few months. Plaintiffs now moves for an order seeking to hold the defendant, Destiny, in contempt of court of an order the court has not made. This is cheeky. I like it. Your Honor, we're just dumping more and more garbage on the system. Now, they also point out that Pxie has publicly discussed the case and its subject matter ad nauseum on a variety of platforms. It says on June 2nd, she filed a motion for a protective order governing public commentary and seeking to place a blanket gag order on Destiny. And they point out, though, critically, the court has not yet ruled on that motion and has made no order in the meantime. So no interim order, otherwise imposing any restraint on Destiny. And this is big. Nobody has told him you can't. And believe it or not, that is a legal principle. If the court has not entered an interim order just saying, in the meantime, everybody shut up, then you can talk. If the court has not said you can't do anything, you are allowed to do it. And then here's some of the other stuff they talk about. And this goes back to the other parts of this where I think Pxie and their attorneys didn't do a good job. At that June hearing, members of the public were attending, and the media reported on it, including me. Multiple individuals unaffiliated were present in the courtroom. I don't think multiple individuals. I think there were only maybe a handful of people total. Like one of the guys was one of Destiny's bros. So I think it was only a handful of people there. I don't think that's how that worked there. And they say, yeah, Pxie never moved to seal the courtroom, and nor did she object to the presence of the public in the gallery. And notice they point out that the June 6th order is just to seal the transcript. And it says nothing in that order could be construed to impose a prior restraint or an injunction on Destiny's ability to discuss the case. The purported videos where Destiny appeared as a guest on a third party's podcast where he discussed the hearing. And yes, and here's the big thing here. And it says, moreover, federal law is well settled that an order sealing a document does not operate as a gag order or an injunction over the substance. And this is the big thing here, chat. And this is something that Destiny's attorney brings up. In her 10-page motion, there is no authority holding otherwise. And remember, Pxie is making the legal claim he can't do this. And Destiny is merely asking, says who? Says who? And this is correct. Because notice, Pxie's attorneys found nothing. And they point out that there is, the failure to submit any evidence. I mean, I think they did submit evidence. They talk about the legal standards for contempt. And notice they cite, it's going to be similar cases here. The similar case when they come to it. But yes, this is the big thing here. Where they talk about the de facto gag order, which, Destiny likes, asking Nick Fuentes, I'm sure there was a bit of gagging there. Maybe Nick Fuentes ordered Destiny to gag. But notice what these guys do. Sealing orders differ from gag orders. And notice they say that the court sealing of a gag does not impose a gag order or an injunction to the substance of the sealed material. Now notice guys, look at this chat. It's a citation. It's a citation. Isn't that cool? Isn't that cool how that works? Isn't that cool how that works? But that's from the Middle District of North Carolina. You're not inside. That's in the 4th Circuit, I believe. So they're not in the 11th, but notice it's a legal citation somewhere. And they put out an order to seal a settlement agreement did not enjoin the parties from disclosing the terms. It says, more importantly, the purpose of the sealing is to limit public access to the records rather than enjoin a party from disclosing them. And yes, it's merely a limit on public access to court documents. And this is correct. And notice they see more and more and more and more and more here. And they say, unlike a sealing order, an order granting an injunction must state the reasons why it was issued, the terms, and describe in detail the acts restrained or required. Remember, we talked about this with the Trump cases. With an injunction, you have to state, why am I doing this? What are the definitions of it? How well am I defining it? And then specifically what you can and cannot do and the situations that you can and cannot do things. And that's a great example of the Boasberg injunction. He said all this stuff when they were sitting in the court hearing, but then when it came time to type up the injunction, he left half the shit off of it. So guess what? The written directions are the things that control. And here we go. Destiny's citing cases. He's citing the Federal Rules of Civil Procedure. Moreover, they cite more. They cite here, another case out of the District of Columbia. And they say a limitation on the access to records is not synonymous with a prohibition on their release in the future. Another DC Circuit, DC Circuit case. So it's not just District Court, but the DC Circuit. And yeah, this is correct here. And yes, see, this is the paperless order. What does that mean? It just says seal it. It doesn't say anybody can't talk. And we've went over this right here, guys. Notice this. What does it say? What does it say here? That's the exact same thing we have here. Oh, we moved since we were. Who says they can't do what? Who says they can't do what? Destiny's correct. Destiny's correct. Lou says, interesting. I thought it was a no-go. Yeah, I mean, ultimately, I know a lot of people tend to think it that way. But unless there's a protective order, that's the thing that prevents dissemination. So sealing something is correct. You want to seal things, but you have to do it's a two-track approach. If you don't want anybody to talk about it or know about it, you have to limit public access, and then you have to get a protective order. So keeping the public from accessing it is the big thing, but then just as important is making sure everybody shuts up. So you have to attack both things, and they both require separate orders and separate vehicles. Lou says they cited outside circuit. That's fine. That's fine to cite outside the circuit. The reason why they probably cited outside the circuit, they couldn't find anything in the circuit, but that's not a bad thing. There's nothing wrong with that. Sometimes these issues are not in your circuit. There may not have been anything in the 11th Circuit that addressed this specifically. So that's not a problem. These are all persuasive. They're all persuasive. They're not binding. Remember, the 11th Circuit would be binding on the Southern District of Florida. But if all you could find is other district courts and then the DC Circuit, if that's all you have, that's all you have. But I think it's once, as much as Pxie and them tried to say, like, well, everybody knows, this is kind of like an everybody knows thing. Like, obviously, we can't find it in our area, but these are other courts that have spoke to it. Remember, you present whatever authority you can, persuasive or binding if you can. So. Oh, Lou was saying, citing about outside circuit. Yeah, you could totally do it. Totally, you can do it. So they point out the court has made no order restricting the speech of the parties, let alone a clear and ambiguous order granting injunctive relief and a prior restraint. Yeah, they haven't yet. And he keeps on going. And they saying the sealing order does not enjoin speech. And I think he's correct. That's the argument I would make. This is the argument I would make. This is, I think, very important here. Now, in this, they did file some emails. Guys, they did file some emails. And they said that this is from Joan Peters, one of Pxie's attorneys. And from what I have understood of her, she is pretty tough. According to the two attorneys I talked to that have dealt with her, she has a reputation of being pretty out there. Not afraid to fight. Not afraid to fight is her thing. So they're saying it's been brought to our attention. And notice they said this August 18th at 10 a.m. Pacific Daylight Time. Remember, Brettler and all of them are over in California. Only a handful of Destiny's team is in Florida. So they go through all of this and they say, we also just became aware that Destiny deleted that video. And while it does not in any way cure the violation that's already there. And they say, pursuant to local rules, we're required to meet and confer. And once again, you always meet and confer, chat. You always have to meet and confer. It's Russell Greer's bane that he refused to meet and confer for the longest time. You meet and confer. And if they're unable to resolve the matter, we anticipate filing a motion with the court to enter an order holding Destiny in contempt and ordering him to cease and desist, ordering Destiny to pay legal fees, and requesting appropriate sanctions and recruiting a monetary fine payable to the court in the amount of no less than $10,000, which that ain't ever fucking happening. That's absolutely fucking ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. And then what happened? Well, Tuesday the 19th at 6 a.m. PDT. So less than 24 hours later, and I think that's acceptable. Acceptable to get back that fast. I've got shit to do. I can't just drop everything to handle this case. I don't think that's wrong at all. So this is from Brettler, and he says, your contention is a serious one, yet is entirely unsubstantiated. Since receiving your email, we looked into the matter. We're not sure what is supposedly was brought to your attention. Accordingly, provide us any evidence you have in any documentation. And he says, in the meantime, all rights, remedies, and defenses are reserved. And that, guys, you don't always have to do that, but this is just prudent lawyering. You always make sure you're just like, look, I'm reserving everything. So that is a very good practice to do. So this is him re-quoting it. Now, this is a little bit later on the 19th, 2.5 hours later. And this is where Joan is acting like a bit of an asshole, but really, although I'm sure your client could have provided you with this, here it is. There's nothing wrong with saying, you fucking show me what he did. It's not Brettler's job to have to do all the digging. No. You're saying something happened. You show me what happened. This is if I was this is kind of bitchy in my opinion. You're the one claiming Destiny did something wrong. Fucking show what he did wrong. I understand. Yes, that sounds like all rights reserved like a sovereign citizen, but no, it's a common thing. She's on the farms. She is? Well, I know she's on the farms, but like, does she have a page? Anyways, yeah, they have some of it here. They clipped it up. They also showed the portions on the farms that were there. And then, yeah, now we're getting to the email chains kind of expanding. Now it's kind of expanding. And then she sent another email a couple hours later, basically another 2.5 hours later. And it says, due to the gravity of the situation, is it really that fucking insane? Like, I don't like, due to the gravity, we'll proceed with the following in the motion unless we hear back from you by 5 p.m. today. Lou S is saying, are you saying 24 hours is an acceptable amount of time to get back to somebody? Yeah, I mean, let's say Brettler's in fucking trial. Let's say he's got a trial he's in the middle of. Like, there's that, like, this isn't a oh my god, we're all gonna die issue. I don't think that's wrong here. It's not that unreasonable. But 24 hours is fast. A couple of days of trying to like work stuff out, like you might be busy. Like Brettler could have been in the middle of something. Let's say he was out of the country. He was incommunicado. Any number of things happening. Like, you can't just jump in and demand, you have to come right now to me. So, I think this is a bit histrionic, but once again, your Pxie side, you're going to run around like your hair is on fire. But in reality, was it? No. So Brettler is correct here because he responds like about an hour, 2 hours later. There is no emergency. You need to give us time to consult with our client and revert to you before rushing to the courthouse. I think that's correct. We need some time here. We need some time. Oh, no. 24 hours is more than enough. Brettler responded fast. This is an adequate response time. The 18th, and less than 24 hours later, he responded. No, I think 100% that's more than enough. I think that's more than enough time. Like he's he's been very courteous. He responded within 24 hours. And that's generally kind of like an acceptable standard when you're dealing with attorneys. So if you get back to like, you always try to be within 24 hours. That way stuff doesn't get put off. But yeah, within 24 hours, that's fully reasonable. 100% reasonable. I think Brettler's correct. I got back to you. And then Jones out here screaming like her hair is on fire. And he's like, there's no emergency. And I need time to talk to Destiny. Obviously Destiny's a streamer, but he's got shit to do. He might be out of the country. Maybe he's traveling. Maybe he's on an airplane from Miami to fucking Auckland, New Zealand. That's like 20 some hours. There's no way in hell he's going to be able to talk to him. So, and part of this is they have to talk to their client. So let's say he's on a 20-hour plane ride. There's no way to get a hold of him. And he says, I think this will be your 7th motion. Yeah, and this is them just pointing out you're getting to be a bit much. Yes, he's timely. And if you file this without meaning and conferring, it'll be you who'll be facing sanctions. He's like, we'll seek sanctions against you. Sincerely, Andrew Brettler. Can retching in the court piss off a judge? Yeah. I mentioned this before, guys, when you're in a deposition and things break down. So like during the Laura Loomer deposition, things are breaking down and you have to go run to the judge. That pisses him off. Filing shit like this could piss the judge off. This is a very docket-heavy case right now. And we've had a couple of these where we've gone through and the court's like, look, don't file anything else. I swear to God, if somebody files something next, I'm going to fucking kill them. Every once in a while, that'll happen. Court's like, you guys have done way too much. You guys have done way too much. Now, Joan is sitting here, and basically, we're now 36 hours into this. We have given you and your team more than enough time to consult with your client and revert back. I would disagree. I disagree. Your threat of sanctions basis. Our efforts to meet and confer will end tomorrow at noon Eastern. Yeah. And there's still more. And I think that's correct there. And then he finally on the 20th at 8 a.m. Remember, this is all Pacific Daylight Time. Because remember, Brettler is in LA. He's in West Hollywood, but it's LA. And he says, Joan, your arbitrary deadlines are tiresome. Nevertheless, we have had a chance now to review. We've had a chance to review the evidence you provided and discuss it with our client. And notice now, we're now Wednesday. So we're about 48 hours in. That's pretty fucking fast. That's pretty fucking fast to sort that all out. And once again, this is not a, oh my God, we're all going to die situation. The materials which you directed us to certainly don't prove that Destiny read aloud from the sealed preliminary injunction hearing transcript. Or that he did that. But even if he did, such conduct's not in violation of any court order. I agree. And they say Destiny never filed the transcript on the public docket, nor did he publish a copy of the transcript online or anywhere else. And he does until the court curtails it a First Amendment right to discuss stuff. Your motion for a gag order has not been granted. And remember, the protective order is still out there, and we're going to get to that. The protective order has been ruled on. In light of the foregoing, your request to be held, Destiny be held in contempt is outrageous. And they say, surely you and your colleagues are aware of the high showing required to enter such a finding. Also, where'd you come up with the notion that he should pay a $10,000 fine? What are you basing that figure on? And they're just throwing a number out there. Now, should you proceed with your motion based on limited and inconclusive evidence, we will oppose a seek-in and seek sanctions against your client and your respective firms. Yeah. Yep. And, that is ultimately something that they have the right to go forward on it. And if you guys hear here, Brettler files this and says, this entitles Destiny to a award of sanctions. Now, here's the deal. Destiny's going to tell you, oh my God, we're going to get it. No, the court's going to be like, you guys all need to fucking calm down. ultimately, what I would say the court's going to say, everybody needs to chill the fuck out. The court's going to look at both sides and say, you guys got to pamper your tampers. Just like fucking ice down your tampons for a minute. And now, what is he saying, though? He's arguing these are Rule 11 sanctions. And the court should sua sponte of its own accord put these against counsel. And they say that plaintiff has burdened the court with 7 pleading motions. And this motion is just make work. Now, what do they cite here, guys? The court has inherent Rule 11 authority to issue sua sponte sanctions. And it says this Bioplanet, guys, versus Johansson. We covered this with the AI cases. And this is the one where the court threw everything out. Okay? So they're pointing out here that bad faith can be inferred by Pxie and their attorneys where they were reckless and coupled with a frivolous argument. So they're seeking their own sanctions. And they point out, once again, the court has not yet ruled on the gag order. So Destiny can't be held in contempt for an order that hasn't been made. You're like, okay, well, what has happened in the meantime? Well, the court finally did get to things, and there was a ruling. And notice, though, here's the thing. This comes out September 2nd. So, yeah, this is after the fact. The court issues a ruling. And what do they talk about here? So it's an order on plaintiff Jane Doe's motion for protective order governing discovery. So what happened? Well, it's been granted in part. Now, they point out the motion for protective order is evidently before the court due to a breakdown in communications regarding protective order drafts between the parties. Now, what does this mean? The parties are generally supposed to come together. It's a meet and confer. You come up with your own orders, and I will, if you guys agree to them, I will sign off on them. And that's what they're supposed to do. But the court is pointing out, you're forcing me to figure this out because you guys can't agree. Now, they claim that, the court's reciting some basic things here. On May 8th, they reached out for a meet and confer. And then a meet and confer took place on May 12th. And see, notice here, on May 8th, there was a request for the meet and confer. Then the meet and confer took place on May 12th. It's about 5 to 7 days. So within a week, within a business week, you're expected to get back with the parties and sit down. So notice, Brettler turning around in 24 hours saying, sorting this out, within 36 hours responding again, and 48 hours responding again. They're acting pretty fast. Now, they point out that there was a draft order, and the draft was sent by Pxie's counsel 2 days later. And there was a point here about this. Now, they said, as discussed, our meet and confer attaches a draft of the proposed confidentiality agreement and protective order. This draft is marked confidential, which means it may not be shared. Please advise if you'd like to move forward. And then it says, roughly 24 hours later, they followed up with a follow-up on this. Please let us know by noon tomorrow. Then roughly 12 hours later, based on your, once again, chat, 12 hours later, so 36 hours. 36 hours. We consider this to be exhausted. And then 2 minutes later from defense counsel, Joan, it's 10 a.m. I marked up your proposed agreement and will send you our comments when I get out of my meeting. And that's the point. I'm fucking busy with other things is an acceptable answer. Like, I understand this may be your biggest priority, but I have multiple priorities. And then counsel did so approximately at 11 a.m. PDT, so within an hour. The May 14th draft is 11 pages inclusive of Exhibit A. The May 16th draft returned has relatively few edits. As the parties note, they primarily argue over whether the name or identifying information of non-party witnesses should be a tenet of the protective order. And it says, however, though, the proposed protective order actually submitted with Pxie's motion is substantially or substantively quite different than the draft circulated between the parties. At roughly 3 pages, the protective order is comparatively shorter and less specific as to what may be designated confidential, how such designation may occur, who has access to the information, and the procedures for challenging it, and then what happens in the event of an inadvertent disclosure. And say, thus the parties now are at odds among several things. And they say, well, what do we do here? So what does this talk about? And it says, unless otherwise provided by law, court filings are public and they're matters of public record. General public possesses a common law right of access to judicial records and documents that are presumed to be public. And it's well-established 11th Circuit case law, this common law right, is because once a matter is brought before the court for resolution, it's no longer solely a private matter, but also now a public matter. And that's a fair point. It's now our thing. We all know. Titan says, who is Joan representing? Joan is representing Pxie. This is user 404. How you doing, man? Good to see you. And when it comes to discovery materials, the scope of the public's right can be reasonably curtailed. And they say where discovery that's filed with pretrial motions that require judicial resolution merits as a subject of common law right, it can be restricted, though. You could protect a party from annoyance, embarrassment, oppression, or undue burden or expense. And they have a 4-factor test to determine there. Okay, well, severity of the likelihood of the harm, the precision with which the order is drawn, the availability of a less onerous alternative, and the duration of the order, meaning you can't do this forever. You can't do it forever. I mean, Lou, they're making bad arguments, but this is not a Destiny. Destiny's not winning here, okay? Ultimately, at the end of the day. Is somebody going to get sanctioned? I doubt it. She might get, the court might be fucking knock it off, but this idea, oh, she's going to get raped or something, no. So it looks bad as opposed to being good, sure, but she might get chewed out a little bit, and we've all been chewed out before. So, and it says finally the burden of persuasion to demonstrate good cause in the party moving for the order. So Pxie. So ultimately, what are they doing here? So it's to be granted in part. Plaintiff has shown good cause for an entry of a limited protective order, but one is modified by the court to be more consistent with the party's original and mutually negotiated draft. So what are the terms of the order here? And we're not going to go through all of this. We're going to go through some basic things here about what's done. So this agreement shall govern all documents, things, and information produced or provided by the parties, non-parties, if it's designated confidential. And that includes any copies, summaries, pleadings, transcripts, or other documents containing quotations or references or information contained therein. So even if you do something there, that's what it's going to be. This is without prejudice to the right of a party to object to the production of this information. The information subject to the designation confidential shall include the producing party's document, data, material, or testimony that contains private, sensitive, or identifying information of the plaintiff or any party, but is not limited to intimate images or videos, meaning any nudes of Pxie or Destiny. But remember, that can't cover anything with Rose if Rose was under the age of 18, because that's contraband. That's illegal stuff that cannot be possessed, that can't be shared. But also the legal name and the personal identifiers of Pxie, the legal name of any non-party witness whose testimony the court has allowed have been filed under seal, psychological and medical records, and private information of an intimate or sexual nature. Those are the obvious ones. Those are the obvious ones. But there's other stuff here. And guys, when we talk about this, when you come to what's going on, how does this work as far as what you do? Well, each page of the document produced pursuant to discovery in this action shall bear a bait stamp. We've gone over this before, chat, but a bait stamp is a document retention method. It's got a little stamp at the bottom, and that's how you know things are being done. Let me see if I can pull something up. It's got a good bait stamp on it. Actually, technically, these will. You could almost consider this a bait stamp here, chat. This is not exactly a bait stamp, but it tells you everything about this document. It tells you a lot of stuff about this document. It's a case number. It's document 116. What day was it entered on the docket? And it's page 8 of 18. This isn't exactly a bait stamp, but you can look at this and find out a lot. You can find out a lot. So the bait stamps are important. It should be the duty of the party or non-party who wants stuff to be confidential to mark it with the legend confidential. You have to do it. If you don't do it, well, then it's not presumed to be non-confidential. Each party must take care to designate for protection only those parts of materials or documents or oral or communications that qualify. So if only part of something, if it's a 10-page document and only a little bit of it's going to be there, you have to be careful. You can't just take like all of my stuff and say it's all confidential. No, you have to go through and find out what's there and what's protected. So anybody given access to confidential information, you consent to the continuing jurisdiction of this court for purposes of enforcing the order and remedying violations of it. If you've been given access to confidential information, you are consenting by accepting it that you are under the jurisdiction of the Southern District of Florida. So meaning if I was involved in Destiny's like, hey man, here, look at all this stuff. And then I blast it all over the internet. The Southern District of Florida could hold me in contempt. And I would consent to being involved. So information designated confidential may be used only for the purposes of prosecuting or defending the action. And prosecuting is what Pxie's doing. She's the plaintiff. Including mediation, arbitration, or other settlement proceedings or negotiations for appeal. And may not be disclosed to any other person other than the party's counsel and co-counsel. That also includes paralegals and legal staff. The party, so Destiny and Pxie. The court reporters and videographers while part of their duties, because they're going to see all this shit. Independent experts and consultants retained with any party. So, for example, if there is, in the Cardi B case, guys, there was a psychiatrist that Cardi B retained to examine the plaintiff. The plaintiff's medical records would have been confidential. But Cardi B's expert has the right to examine them. Lou says, the Pxie getting... Oh, she got a fucking lot of what she wanted here, buddy. We'll get to it. But I call balls and strikes. There's a bunch of things that Pxie and her attorneys didn't do right. There's a bunch of stuff here that didn't go Destiny's way, though. So... And also, I think Destiny's going to very likely get toast here. But we'll get to it. Don't worry. We'll get to it. But where it's good, it's good. Where it's not good, it's not good. But this is your independent experts have access to it. Once it's done, though, you shall return everything to the producing party, or it has to be destroyed within 60 days of the termination of the litigation. So this guy doesn't get to keep it. So if you have a doctor involved, they don't just get to hold onto the records forever. They have to destroy them or return them. This court or a referee could be an arbitrator, a mediator, or any other court-appointed person who is involved or is ordered by the court to be involved. Persons who author the confidential information or who receive the information. Obviously, if you make the confidential information, you have a right to it. Witnesses and deponents who require, according to counsel's judgment, access to the information. So if you're a witness and you're going to have a deposition or your witness is going to testify, you can provide it to them. But remember, they are bound by this order. So if Destiny brings in, I don't know, who's his buddy right now? Connor from Counterpoints, and he comes in and testifies. And Brettler gives Connor a bunch of confidential information to read through. Okay. And then Connor gets up on the stand and starts blabbing about shit, and he discloses a bunch of it. The court will hold him in contempt and hold him to show cause. Talks about mediators or other neutral parties who are doing settlements or negotiations. Other persons as the undersigned counsel shall consent in writing to before the proposed disclosure. So there might be times where Brettler or Joan Peters may say, hey, look, here's some people I need to disclose to. And yeah, as long as everybody agrees at that point. But it looks like they're not going to agree at this point. Now, this shall not be disclosed to the immediate public or used for any extrajudicial purpose, and shall not be discussed or shared in any online broadcast, podcast, stream, post, or direct message. So there you go. That is now a restraint on Destiny. But it's also a restraint on Pxie. If it's confidential, it can't be discussed. Now, could Destiny still talk about his case? Yes. He can still say these are bullshit allegations. Pxie's a hoe. We're going to kick her ass. My attorney said we're going to fuck him up. Anything that's not covered as confidential, he can talk about. He can talk about the filings. It's just anything labeled confidential, he can't talk about. He can't talk about it. He can't show it. He can't say, oh, I've got really good memory of the things that were given to me. Ha, ha, ha. No, that doesn't work this time. That fucking Redditor shit he did of, well, I've got a really good memory. Yeah. Wait. No. Now you're done. So they point out that anything that's conspicuously marked, and if it's there, you shall take all reasonable, appropriate precautions to avoid loss or inadvertent disclosure. They talk about, well, what happens if we do disclose it? Well, the court may deem appropriate sanctions without limitation, contempt, injunctive relief, or damages. And prior to the disclosure of any information, such person shall be furnished with a copy of the protective order and shall be required to execute the certificate attached. Meaning, down here at the bottom, anybody who's going to get the protective or the confidential information, you're acknowledging and consenting to the jurisdiction. If you don't sign this, you can't get it. So, for example, if Connor points, guys, different from ContraPoints, Connor. I'm not talking about ContraPoints. I'm not talking about the Troon. I'm talking about Connor, for example. Or let's say somehow Destiny was going to depose President, was going to have President Sunday as a witness. I don't know how or why, but let's use him as an example. Or Hassan. They would have to sign here and say, I, Hassan Piker, acknowledge I've been given a copy. I consent to the jurisdiction of the United States District Court of the Southern District of Florida. And I understand that there's a confidentiality agreement. I agree to be bound by the terms. He would sign, my address is here, my phone number is here. Now, it's like if you're like Hutch and all these other people, oh my God, I've been doxxed. And he says, I declare to the penalty of perjury, this would be all correct. Signed, whoever. So that's what we're getting to here. That's the ultimate thing for Destiny. He has now been, as Brettler was saying, well, he's not been stopped. Well, guess what? Now he's stopped. It's done for him. Okay. So what happened from there? Well, now we move on to the big thing that we were left to not deal with. And this is the order on Pxie's motion to amend. This is a big thing, chat. This is the big thing. This is it. This is the main event of the evening. I can't sneeze. Lou says, so in this order, where's the win for Pxie? He can't fucking talk about confidential information. Yeah. So yeah, I mean, like this is helpful if they can get the transcript declared confidential. Yes. It just limits him. It limits him. So any information they may now share will be limited if it's confidential. So yes, it's a big, like that's not a super huge win, but it's important. There's a protective order in place now. But the bounds are confidential are limited to being normal. Well, if they agree that it's if the parties agree that X, Y, or Z is confidential, then it's confidential. So you can agree to a lot of things. So isn't that expected? I mean, sometimes yes, but notice Destiny went and run around. And they had to, it took a while to get this done. So is it expected? Yeah, once again, like I said, this is not the monster. This previous order wasn't the monster win. This is the monster fucking win for Pxie. This is the monster win. It keeps her in the fight. So Pxie already filed a motion to leave and amend, and it says after careful consideration, the motion to leave is granted. Now, what is this? Well, we're getting the background here. It involves the wrongful dissemination of a video involving both Pxie and Destiny because they were getting it on. Destiny alleges that the situation is more complex and that they both repeatedly shared similar materials with each other, and third parties were involved. So there's an issue about, was there implied consent and how that was all worked out. And that in practice, in effect, extended to other individuals. It was then one of those individuals, Rose, whose Discord account was allegedly hacked, which resulted in the leak. Yep. And it says presumptively due to the nature, parties and their counsel. And notice this is where Lou, I know you were trying, you're worried about bad faith here and saying this is looking bad for Joan. This is why, yeah. Presumptively due to the nature of the case, the parties and their counsel, not just one, but everybody, have proceeded to throw the proverbial kitchen sink at one another. This has resulted in a litany of briefing before the court. So this is where the court's like, everybody needs to fucking chill out. So I know you were saying well, this looks bad. I'm like, yeah, this isn't really that bad. This is this happens a lot. Parties get a little fired up. This happens. So I know people would be wanting to look at this one way or another, but yeah. Let's see here. I want to make sure I caught up everything here. So, a particular focus is the motion for leave to file the amended complaint. And Pxie is seeking to preemptively address what the defendant characterizes as the lack of subject matter jurisdiction. And here's the big thing. I know Destiny's acting like this is all hints for things from the judge. Well, the judge is merely just calling it out. In terms of briefing, the defendant has never proactively filed a motion challenging the subject matter jurisdiction, but has instead raised it in response to several of the motions. And that's correct. Once again, they keep bringing up the whole, the October 1st, 2022 thing for Cardi, but they've never filed a motion, which once again, fucking file the motion. And it says defendant's argument as to the subject matter jurisdiction as follows. Pxie made the understandable mistake of misinterpreting the evidence regarding a Discord chat where Destiny shared the video with another individual taking place in October of 22 when it took place in April of 2022. The singular federal law under which Pxie is claiming jurisdiction, 15 U.S.C. 6851, is Cardi. And it only went into effect on October 1st and is not one that applies retroactively. And that's correct. It doesn't go backwards in time. Hence, Destiny is saying Cardi can't be invoked and there's no remaining federal claim, meaning, therefore, any amendment would be futile for want of jurisdiction. Yes. And Destiny's saying it doesn't matter what you do, it doesn't work. Now, in response to this, and it says not conceding that such an understandable mistake took place, Pxie now seeks to preemptively address any possible jurisdictional deficiency by amending her complaint to add the allegations regarding the wider dissemination of the Google Drive where Destiny kept a trove of videos, including the video of him and Pxie. And then it says, in a prior allegation from May 2025, that Destiny also sent the video to Abby MC. And because, says plaintiff, the Google Drive was consistently available to many individuals, that availability continued through the Cardi period. And it says Cardi indeed applies and this court has jurisdiction. This is once again the court summarizing the arguments. This is not the court accepting it. Now, the jurisdiction of federal courts. So, well, it says federal courts are of limited jurisdiction, meaning they provide a forum for some but not all disputes. And it says a district court can only hear a case if it has one of the 3 types of subject matter jurisdiction. Jurisdiction under specific statutory things like CARDI, it's a federal law. Federal question jurisdiction pursuant to 28 U.S.C. 1331, or diversity jurisdiction pursuant to 28 U.S.C. 1332. Now, remember, guys, diversity jurisdiction is you live in a separate state, is the first part of that. Pxie and Destiny both live in fucking Florida. They both live in the Southern District of Florida. Not only within the state, but within the same federal district. So even if the amount in controversy exceeds $75,000, the diversity in citizenship is not there. So they have to proceed under the specific statutory grant. Like they, there's a statutory grant. Like this is a federal court case. Federal courts have the right to be here. And they say if the court determines at any time it lacks subject matter jurisdiction, the court must dismiss the action. And that's the thing, guys, at any time. If the court at any time decides, wait, I have no authority to hear a case, it has to stop. Even if we've gotten all the way through discovery, we're into a jury trial, the jury is now deliberating. Oh, I don't have subject matter jurisdiction. Bam, done. Or let's really put it out there. The jury has now returned the verdict. The jury is like, we, the jury, find Stephen Bennell liable. Wait, you don't have jurisdiction. Sorry, we're done. That's it. Now, amending pleadings. And this is something that is in the rules of civil procedure, guys. And this is Rule 15A. And it talks about how you can amend. And you can talk about amending as a matter of course. You can amend as a matter of course no later than 21 days after serving it. Or if the pleading is one to which a responsive plea is required, 21 days after service of a responsive pleading, or 21 days after service of a motion under Rule 12B, E, or F. Other amendments. In all other cases, the party may amend his pleading only with the opposing party's written consent, which that's not going to happen here. Brettler and Joan Peters are never going to fucking agree, and that's fine. They don't have to. Or the court's leave. The court should freely give leave when justice so requires. And this is the big thing here. The court should freely give leave when justice so requires. So, and they say the rules declare that the amendment to leave shall be freely given. And it says that the underlying facts or circumstances relied by a plaintiff may be a proper subject of relief. He ought to be afforded an opportunity to test his claim on the merits. Meaning, if we can tweak, and this is the point here, the Supreme Court is addressing this in Foman v. Davis. If the underlying merits have some subject of relief, let him tweak that subject matter issue. Let him fix it. And it says amendments leading to a modification of the required pretrial scheduling order are subject to a good cause standard of scrutiny. And you must show good cause on why the leave to amend should be granted. And it says the district court doesn't need to allow amendment that would cause undue prejudice to the opposing party. And they point out this is all within the discretion of the district court. But outright refusal to grant the leave is not an exercise of discretion. So in outright refusal, the court's just like, nope. And they say in absence of that, it should be, in absence of any apparent or declared reason, the leave should, as the rules require, be freely given. Now, what are reasons you can do that? They can include undue delay, bad faith, or is it a dilatory move on the part of the movement, or repeated failure to cure deficiencies by amendments previously allowed? And this is a big one here. Did you already seek to amend? Did you already get an amendment? So the first amended complaint, well, did you fix it? No. Could you have fixed it at that time? Yes, and you didn't. And remember, chat, the moment you file that new amended complaint, if you're like, ooh, I have a typo and I need to amend it, that now requires a second amended complaint. So this is very serious. You've got to get this shit right. And a district court may properly deny when leave to amend would be futile. And they point out when district court denies the plaintiff leave to amend due to futility, the court is making the legal conclusion the complaint would necessarily fail. And that this is akin to finding the proposed amendment would not survive a motion to dismiss. Well, that's why, yes, this will survive a motion to dismiss. So, and this is the court being honest here. The question not whether we have subject matter jurisdiction is not so clear cut as Pxie or Destiny would have us believe. And this is the court pointing out, as much as Destiny thinks, bro, we just got to file and we're going to win. No. Court's like, this is not clear cut either way. You guys both have a lot of work to do to show us who's entitled to be here. So each party accuses the other of not supporting enough evidence to produce their claims as to when Destiny disseminated the video. They say, as the plaintiff's allegations, he transmitted the video after the date of Cardi. Destiny argues that Abby MC should have testified at an earlier June 3rd hearing before the court that touched on this, among other issues, subject matter jurisdiction. And this is where, Lou, I know you're out there. You want to know where this is bad for Destiny? The defendant, and we'll get to this footnote here because this is actually a pretty big footnote. The defendant leans on his declaration as the date of the formatting. Okay. And he's saying that, the screenshot means it's, April 10, 2022. And they're saying the mistake is understandable. And he says, based on information and belief, I have not sent the video to anyone other than Rose. I certainly have not sent it to anyone since I sent the video to Rose on April 9th, 2022. And it says the timestamps of the exhibit reflect that Rose was corresponding from a time zone 5 hours ahead of me in Miami, Florida. Although we know now, is that really the case? Because it sounds like Rose might live in America. Based on some information here. And they say, for all the defendants protest that Abby should have testified at the hearing, noticeably absent from Destiny's arguments regarding subject matter jurisdiction is testimony from Rose that would corroborate his characterization of Discord chat in his declaration. Boom. This is where you wanted to know something. Guess why we don't have anything? And this is where, Lou, I'm not yelling at you. But, this is not clear cut. The court's like, if you really had the fucking goods, where's Rose? That's why I put that in the thumbnail. Where's Rose? You want to settle this and put it to bed right now? This was shared from Rose's side. The judges made a mistake. No, Lou, that's not authenticated. None of that's authenticated. That's a fucking screenshot. That doesn't mean shit. The judge has not made a mess. No, it's if you want to prove that this is correct, the date and time shit's wrong, you get a declaration from Rose. You have Rose testify. This is the problem here for Destiny. Can he get Discord to authenticate? Mm-hmm. And Lou says Destiny at Rose's side of the DM. So if we're really going to believe that, then we also, Destiny can find out who Rose is. Can you get Discord to authenticate? I don't know. I don't think so. Back 3 years. These are just screenshots now. Yes, it's foundation. And you know what? Who better than some fucking retarded little screenshots bring Rose's ass into court? Bring Rose's ass into court and say, yeah, 100% that's correct. So, more importantly, they say, thus as it stands at this stage, the evidence purportedly establishing a definitive timeline to what Destiny or did not do is murky at best. So, this idea that Destiny is going to fucking win right here, it's far from, I know Destiny thinks he's going to win, but the court's saying, you don't got what you think you got. And this is something I brought up earlier. If that's all that's needed, it sounds pretty easy to get for Destiny. If all that was needed, then why the fuck hasn't he gotten it? Is more importantly the question. And this is something I brought up earlier. Destiny's like, oh my God, after that hearing, the judge was on our side. If the judge was really on your side, you would have filed a motion to fucking dismiss right then and there. You would have gone for the fucking throat. But you didn't. You guys have been standing off. Because you guys don't know where things are right now. Yes, he hasn't filed, and I would have filed already. You would have filed your motion to dismiss. You would have filed there's problems with the case. But he didn't do that. He didn't do it yet. So let's get back up here to the footnote. And it says the defendant, here's where that evidence would have come in. Lou, the court even points out, all Destiny's done is run his mouth and hasn't delivered. So it's a big fucking problem for him right now. Destiny also argues that the plaintiff's current allegations when Abby received it and the corresponding proposed amendment are contradictory. Now, this is where the court starts looking into this here, and they start going through. And it says, Abby describes the defendant as sharing sexually explicit videos of himself and Pxie via Google Drive from November 3rd, 2023. And then sometime in March of 23, Destiny began messaging a fan with the screen name Abby MC. And it says, over the course of the relationship, Destiny sent Abby multiple explicit videos. And they keep on going down here. And they say, to that end, Destiny alleges that the proposed amendments and the complaint now asserts is a ploy to establish jurisdiction that sometime before November 3rd, Destiny sent the link to Abby. And it says, it merits noting that Abby submitted a signed declaration attesting to the transmission of the video on or about November 3rd. And that both Pxie and Destiny at times mischaracterize Abby MC's on or about testimony as occurring on November 3rd. It does not change your testimony, but does add necessary context. In other words, the alleged transmission of the video and message to a friend could well have been two chronologically separate events that both align with the on or about. The text of the chat snippet, dated 11/3/23, is consistent with this. By the way, Destiny sends me sex tapes all the time, and he thinks I don't know the girls in them, but I have videos of him fucking Cherry and Pxie like LMFAO. He just sent me another one I haven't opened. Let's see who he's fucking this time. So the alleged transmission could have taken on or about November 3rd without making the allegations inherently incongruous. So the court's just saying this is not, you are not where you think you are, Destiny. And he says, in any event, we need not reach a decision on jurisdiction today. And it says defective allegations of jurisdiction may be offended upon terms in the trial or appellate courts. They say in this provision, Rule 15a should liberally be construed. Leave to amend should be freely granted when necessary to cure a failure to allege jurisdiction properly. At this juncture, we don't need to reach an answer as to jurisdiction, because even if the allegations were initially defective, the proper course would be to grant leave to amend. So the court's saying, I'm not even deciding it, but let's say they weren't correct. I should let her fix it. And it says, based on the record, there's nothing to suggest this motion is a result of undue delay, a dilatory move, or otherwise in bad faith. It's worth noting that Pxie is incorrect that she failed to timely file her motion to amend. The deadline was July 6th. Now, this is something here. That said, Pxie filed on July 7th. And yes, deadlines are deadlines. But the court says, we are loath to consider that single day as undue delay or a dilatory move. But you make sure you file your fucking timelines, chat. File on your timelines. It is always critical to file on your timelines. He says, and it is true the defendant has been raising the question of subject matter jurisdiction in various responses, and thus you can't be surprised and should not be unduly prejudiced by the leave to amend. Yes, and that is a problem. When you keep saying, Judge, she fucked up. Guess what? Pxie's gonna go, oh shit, we better fix it. You can't say you weren't ready for that. And it says the parties have even mutually elected to somewhat pause discovery pending the resolution for the motion for the protective order, the thing we just went through. They paused it. Thus, his leave to amend should be freely given, and the plaintiff's motion to leave to file her amended complaint should be granted. Should the defendant believe after filing of the amended complaint, this court still does not have subject matter jurisdiction, the defendant is free to file a 12B1 motion or otherwise generally respond to the briefing arguing as much. And in conclusion, the leave to amend is granted. Pxie shall promptly file a first amended complaint on the docket. Done and ordered. Chambers in Miami, Florida, this 4th day of September, 2025. And it's done. So, what does all this mean here? What does all this mean? Well, listening to Destiny here, this is some of his response to all of this. This is some of his response to this. It's ZipZap45 is the guy who's been in court with him. Like, has attended as a member of the public.
Oh shit! Did you read? Wait, have you read the recent order that just got entered?
I'm reading it now.
Fuck, I haven't read it yet. I got an email about it. I read it. Apparently, we have an opportunity to file for dismissal. Oh my god! Thank God.
It's pretty good so far.
Yeah?
What I'm reading, so I
Well,
mean,
probably
they got it, but it's pretty funny.
Nice.
I mean, yes, when there's a complaint, you have the right to file a motion to dismiss. The idea that, like, oh, we've got this in the fucking bag. No, you don't have this in the bag. The court is just saying, should you believe, and notice he keeps on pointing out because Destiny kept bringing it up. Should you believe that you think you have an option and you want to challenge it, this will be the time to challenge it. Or you can otherwise challenge it. The judge is not going, hint, hint, hint. Hey, Destiny, bro, I'm going to throw this out if you file it. The judge is not doing that. If the judge were to, in fact, do that, and the magistrate were to, in fact, do that, they should be recused from this case and removed from the case. That's not what they're saying here. They're speaking in generalities. And then there's another one here, which, you know, we'll kind of let them discuss it.
After the filing of a complaint, this court still does have subject matter jurisdiction. Defendant is free to file a 12B1 motion or otherwise generally respond. Oh my God. The 12B1 is a motion to dismiss, right? Am I
motion to dismiss? Yeah, they're saying you can do a motion to dismiss, or you can just respond to the actual allegations.
Otherwise,
now,
generally
the,
respond. Yeah.
LMC and
but now I would want to. Now it's absolutely. It's a time to fight on a motion to dismiss, and then I still get my summary judgment later. For the reasons. Okay. Plus much really release. Okay. Plenty of First Amendment complaint on the docket. Thank God. Okay. This is going to have to be my most hardcore research fucking legal reply ever.
I'll be because you're representing yourself, right? As we were.
No, I'm about to send my lawyers like 4 trillion pages of notes for.
I fucking live rent free in his head. He acted like a guy who wasn't represented by counsel. He did his whole retarded manifesto, and then weeks went by without his attorney showing up. What am I supposed to assume? When you're making wild, crazy claims, and then you do that shit. I'm allowed to presume you're acting like a guy who's not represented. But here's the thing, Lou. He's saying he didn't say likely but possible. Man, go back to this one. They are beating their dicks raw about this. They are beating their dicks raw.
Did you read? Wait, have you read the recent order that just got entered?
I'm reading it now.
Fuck, I haven't read it yet. I got an email about it. I read it. Apparently, we have an opportunity to file for dismissal. Oh my God! Thank God.
It's pretty good so far.
Yeah?
What I'm reading.
No, it's just saying it's pretty good so far. Just look, Lou. Yes, he might have said today it's far from over, and that's correct. It's far from over. It's not in the bag for him. They're going to survive the motion to dismiss. Because remember, when you file a motion to dismiss, what happens? The court has to assume everything Pxie said is true. And if everything Pxie has said is true in her complaint, it survives the motion to dismiss. Now, it might not survive summary judgment after discovery gets going, but for right now, she will survive. And this is bad for Destiny. This is bad for Destiny. She's back in the, I think she was toast. But now Pxie's 100% in the fucking game, and Destiny's in trouble. But also, I mean, coupled with all the shit from Rose now, Destiny's really hurting, and to say he's coupled with the allegations of Rose being underage, Destiny's in a really bad fucking spot. He is in a horrible spot right now. He is in a horrible, horrible spot right now. I would not want to be in his position. This is not a good look. Can he still do things from here? Sure. He will file the motion to dismiss. And he will file it under, guys, here, remember, he'll do a 12B1. And this is the defenses and objections, how presented. And remember, we go to these, how to present defenses. And these are the ones we've talked about before. These are the oldies but goodies, the old reliables. How to present defenses. Well, we always have 12B6, the failure to state a claim upon which relief can be granted. The bread and butter one, the bread and butter one. The lack of subject matter jurisdiction. You know, that's 12B1. Court doesn't have the authority to hear the case. What's your confidence level 1 to 10? It survives like a 9. The judge has admitted this is extremely murky. And if it's not clear, he's not going to toss it. So I think Destiny's it says the drive stuff is junk. You know, Lou, but here's the problem. Destiny doesn't have, you know, what Destiny needs. He needs Rose. He needs information from Rose. He needs testimony from Rose, and he doesn't have any of that. Right now, Pxie has Abby MC in her corner. So you could say it's all junk. But compared to what Destiny's batting right now, I don't think he's got the junk. So. And honestly, this is where, you know, where's Rose? You're going to have to find Rose. And guess what? Destiny could say before, I didn't know where Rose was, but guess what? The farms found Rose. The internet found Rose. You know, and this idea is, this is not good for him. This is not good for Destiny. Because, you know, might not be the most reliable person. Rose? Are you saying Rose isn't the most reliable person? The person he sent the nudes to? The person who's literally the foundation, had he not done this? You know, I don't know that's how it's going to work here. Oh, Abby? Yeah, Abby might not be, but that's Destiny to show why she's not reliable. Right now, Pxie has a witness, and it's Destiny's job to show why she's not reliable. And it sounds like, you know, Destiny's going to be like, you know, Destiny can say, well, I've got all these screenshots. Abby's going to go, guess what I've got? I got a shitload of screenshots. So that's, once again, this is not Destiny. This is going to survive. We're going to get into discovery, real discovery. And, oh my God, it's going to be rough when there's a question about, hey, how old is Rose actually? Where is Rose? Hey, we found her. Would you like to depose her? That's going to be a problem. That's going to be a problem. That's going to be a big problem. Lou says, I feel like we're just going to see all this come out in the next motion from Brettler. I guess, but it's like, let's fucking go. I mean, here's the problem, though. The biggest thing ultimately about that date time format. Rose lives in America. So why would Rose have the weird date and time thing going? Like, that's the biggest problem here, Lou. And I don't know if Destiny's going to be able to get around that. He might think she lived in, you know, Europe, but Rose lives in America. Rose is an American citizen. And there's no indication she lived over. Yeah. Why would some of the months say 27? I don't know. I don't know. How do we know those weren't fucked with? I mean, that's the problem with relying on the screenshots. The screenshots themselves are not inherently reliable. They can be manipulated. You know, but that's where, Lou, that's the problem. Why are they saying that way if she lives in America? Why is the date all fucking weird? Americans calling others' dates weird. But you see the point. You could say, well, that doesn't add up. It's like, Rose lives in America, so that really doesn't add up. You understand, like, I agree. Stuff isn't adding up. And we have layers upon layers of it now not adding up. Like the tolerance stacking is kind of getting out of control here. You know, one thing doesn't make sense, but the next thing makes that thing not make sense, which the next thing makes all these other things not make sense. And then the thing above that makes all these things not make sense. There's a lot here that doesn't add up. There's a lot that doesn't add up. Any new updates in the body cam footage? No. And I agree, Lou. There are unanswered questions. There are unanswered questions. So, like I said, this is not as simple as, like, you know, Destiny and ZipZap are like, oh, this is good. No, it's not. No, this is at best for Destiny just, yeah. And at worst, she survives to fight, and now she can take him. Listen, thanks for being patient. No, I appreciate discussing with somebody. I just, appreciate it. But yeah, like I said, here's the thing, guys. When Brettler does some good stuff, I'll say he's done good stuff. When Destiny takes an L, I'll say he takes an L. And right now, this is a big L for him because Pxie is going to survive the subject matter jurisdiction now. She's going to survive it. Before, she actually had a good, like I said, I think there was a good chance she might lose. But now she survives. And if she can survive subject matter jurisdiction, we're now in Discovery. And that's where Destiny doesn't want to go. Destiny going to Discovery is going to be dangerous to him. Because at that point, I want all your shit when you talk to Rose. Remember what Destiny can't do. He can't give away everything he talked to Rose because it looks like a lot of it might be fucking cheese pizza. Or even worse for Destiny, evidence of other crimes like enticing a minor to cross state lines. Do you really want to get into that? And God forbid, Rose was in Illinois. What are the laws in Illinois? He could get in all kinds of trouble from there. Yeah, I mean, like I said, this is not good. She's surviving fucks him. And the court's not going to toss the case at that point. Abby MC is going to be credible unless he could show it's all wrong. But is he cooked? Not yet all the way, but this is not good. She survives. And if she survives, it's kind of like the whole thing in Black Hawk Down. Delta Force went up against Somali fucking tribesmen with guns. What does it take to kill somebody? One bullet. And the most, illiterate third world or high on drugs, could pick up a gun and go and shoot and kill one of the most elite warriors in the world. Any given Sunday, chat. Any given Sunday, anybody can win. So he's Matt. Yes. He's Roseless. Well, we do know who Rose is now. If this gets to a jury, they will hate Destiny. Well, it might not get to a jury. That's a shame. It's good to see you. It says, Destiny's got the gay voice bad. Well, I mean, I still wonder if the audio of Destiny and Nick Fuentes allegedly being together, I doubt we'd be able to tell who was who. Zero Fox is saying, "Good, hey man, it's good to see you. It's been a little while. I've seen you over at Sitch and Adam and stuff and on Twitter, but it's good to see you here." It says, "Did Destiny take an L last night against Rob Noor?" Allegedly, people were saying that. I don't know. I haven't listened to it, so I don't know. But Rob's a good guy. Rob is formidable. So how hell-bent is Destiny on not settling? He said he's gonna not fucking settle. Let me see if I can find that thing from him. I think he said he's not gonna settle. He 100% was like, I ain't fucking settling. Let me see here. That's I think it's towards the end of the Destiny thread right now. But yeah, this idea though, the judge is just merely pointing out, the judge is kind of mocking Destiny. If you're really gonna fucking do it. You keep crying about it, so don't talk about it, be about it. File your fucking motions, let's go. It's a clip on Farms. Yeah, it says they'll pay $600,000 if Pxie can get 0. Yeah, I'm trying to find it right now, guys. I'm going back through. Yeah, here we go. I think we got it.
Or legal fees at this point.
Okay, well, here we go. Here we go.
She's not spending. Her legal fees at this point must be in excess of 50K, and she hasn't mentioned anything publicly about spending any of the money that she fundraised. So my guess is her parents probably are just paying for all of this. It's a family friend, family favor, and then she just pocketed the 50K because she doesn't make any money online anyway. That's my guess.
Or Pxie's attorneys are getting ready to carve a chunk out of your ass because you've got money, Destiny. Like they are literally getting ready to fucking flay you alive. He is really, really getting to fucking flay you alive. Like there's multiple ways they can make money here and get paid. It's called contingency. So it's all called contingency. Like, you know, right now, Destiny, you should be worried about how you're spending your money. But anyways, this is now Destiny, what he's saying here.
Okay. Which is still pretty gross. But I would pay 600K to prevent her from getting 100K or whatever. That would just never. She's the most disgusting person I think I've ever interacted with at this point in my entire fucking life. Like I'll burn through some cash to make it so she's not getting any. Especially if knowing that the way that this all ends up and seeing all the filings, like she'll probably get dragged by the end of this too. So fuck her. Like I'm okay with that. Her behavior has been abhorrent. Why would I reward that? Right?
I don't know about that, buddy. The worst person ever. I don't know about that. The worst person ever. But guys, this is a very common thing when you are engaging in civil litigation. I will do whatever it fucking takes to make you suffer. This happens, people fighting over a fucking fender bender in a car accident. So, not unique. That is not unique. That is not unique, chat. Not unique. Let me see here. Where are we at? Zachary Hasbrook is saying, Progressive Victory kicked out Destiny and Brianna Wu. Actually, John Walker Flint, after confirming they funded Destiny. Didn't Brianna Wu create Progressive Victory? I think so. And I'm not going to lie, Hassan going through all the Progressive Victory payouts and then like Hutch and all these people like, you're doxing me. It's a motherfucker. It's the internet. You're not fucking anonymous. Everybody's doxed. It's just a matter of time. Your dox is out there. And it's just a matter of how much somebody has to dig. But no, you're not fucking anonymous. And besides, when you like, you know, your name is like Hutch and your last name's Hutchinson and like you use your name and you talk about where you live, like eventually it's pretty easy to figure out where you fucking live. Like eventually your shit gets found out. So yeah, like watching the crying about that was hilarious. Lewis saying the Google Drive argument's kind of weak. I would love to see case law on that. I mean, I don't know if there is any. I mean, we are like this area of law is still new, and it's going to get fleshed out more and more and more. But it's not a bad argument to make. It's not frivolous on its face. I mean, if it's a new argument, it's not a bad one. If you have it out there and people can access this drive every time they're there, you can't necessarily guarantee to show who accessed what. I don't know how detailed Google Drive is in that regard. I would assume so, but that's where Destiny could say, look, nobody else accessed that file. They looked at me fucking with all these other bitches. Then he might have an argument, but until he, you know, that's going to be something he's going to have to do. Panzer Dude says, hello, Sean. How are you? I love you, by the way. Well, thank you. I love you too. T-Rex and Crypto Travels says, Sean saying tamper. You know, pamper your tampers. Yes, pamper your tampons. Reminds me of the temper incident with the Battleship Wisconsin. Yeah. You know, I'm saying pamper your tamper. Like, pamper your tampons, guys. Like, just calm it down. Calm it down. But yes, the temper incident with the Wisconsin, they fucking leveled a hillside in North Korea. And they were told, like, and one of the ships along with side them said temper. And if you guys don't know the story, Fat Electrician covers it very well. But basically, a North Korean artillery battery fired on the Wisconsin, and the Wisconsin trained its, 16-inch guns and fired and basically fucking took the top off of a mountain in response at, like, very close distance. Jefferson Post says, so the transcript is just sealed from the public. Correct. And that's why I don't think Destiny did anything wrong. Does it look good? Does it make you look like a shitbag in front of the judge? Sure. But is it wrong? No. But remember, You don't want to look like a dickhead in front of the judge because maybe you're going to need that judge to rule in your favor at one point. And if he sees you acting like a fucking asshole, that could hurt you when you don't need it to. Tech Guy South says, Mr. Bonelli. Oh, okay. And then also the one thing I don't know, and I don't know if the answer to this is, Destiny's got an over-under here in the corner of his screen. I don't know, like, has he ever displayed the shit he's got? Because it looks like he's got a Benelli M4. So he's got some sort of AR, but I don't know who the over-under is. Or is that single barrel? I can't tell. But it looks like it's an over-under. Or is that a Benelli semi-auto? I can't really tell from here, but I think it's an over-under. Anyways, T-Rex and Crypto travels for $4.99. Thank you. Says Destiny did something cringe. Oh my. And anyways, in other breaking news, water's wet, the sky is blue. Yes. Stabby says, Sean, does he have a Joker painting behind him? How can we trust his opinion on the law? And yes, Jefferson, I asked this earlier, but yeah, can rushing in court piss a judge off? 100% it can. And Lou says, what's up with Pxie's lawyers? They have to know what's going to piss off the judge. I don't know. Like I said, there's some things Pxie's attorneys have done that I haven't liked. Like earlier, they were screaming and crying about Destiny deleting evidence, but there was no request for documents. And they hadn't filed a request for documents or request for production. So until you request for production, there's nothing to cry about as far as discovery violations. They've done things like I've said this before. They have done things in a way that don't make sense, and I don't understand why they're doing them the way they do them. So yeah, there's so much of it I still don't understand what they do. And Clippy's saying, so the basic of the lawyers are complaining the other side's not doing their due diligence. Kind of, but it's, they weren't giving them time to work on that. Joan wasn't giving Brettler enough time to work on it. And Brettler's got a point, like, dude, I need some, you got to give me a little bit of fucking time here. And Amon Reza says, I hope Chad is happy to see you gave Sean all that dough and now he's sipping for custody. Well, like I said, when stuff's right, it's right. When it's not right, it's not right. So what's the most ass chewing you've ever gotten by a judge? Like, not a whole lot, but I've been chewed out before. I mean, really, most attorneys have. If you go to court, it'll happen. You'll fuck up. Don't try to, but eventually you will, and eventually you'll catch a judge on a bad day, and that'll just compound things. And if you catch a judge when he's having a bad day and he's fucking going off on people, you got to sit there and take it. And you sit there and take it, and then you deal with it. You deal with it. Clippy saying, so the lawyers being petty and whining about each other, not doing their due diligence, and pissing off the judge. Well, I think that Joan Peter is getting way too fucking fired up about this, but that's part of her thing, is she's known for being a very zealous advocate. But she's getting very fucking carried away. And Brettler, like I said, Brettler's been the calm and he's been an ice cube throughout this. He's been pretty cool. That doesn't mean the case is good for him, but he's been an ice cube throughout this. He's been Joe Peters all frazzled, fired up, ready to go like a chihuahua. Brettler's been steady. And, both of those have their advantages and disadvantages, but generally when you're an attorney, you need to be steady. You need to be just calm. Let's see here. Let's see. Another says, can a court expert be an expert in Destiny drama? You could be like a YouTube lore historian, like they could bring in Turkey Tom or the internet historian. They could do all those, the end of the internet or whatever. They could bring in channels who could say, I know the lore, I am the lore master. Has a judge ever called you brazen? No. Money is money, yes. How does Bossman Jack avoid prison after 1,000 parole violations? I don't know. But I will say the more interesting thing is Bossman Jack kind of letting out that he's been paid a couple $100,000 to do Stake. And now Stake is being sued by the California Attorney General's office. for all kinds of like sketchy shit. And we're gonna go through that lawsuit next week, so it should be fun. Kurt from Uncivil Law says, Sean, hi Kurt, hope you're doing well, buddy. And oh, Bella's saying the side ship said temper because the shockwave moved all the other boats. Okay. Morse Apple says to be the far north to be the North Korean artillery scratched the deck. Yeah, it did. The shell landed and bounced off. Samuel Hartman says you could find my house by filing the pile of Jimmy John's wrappers blowing out of the trash can. Yes. Yes, if you ever clicked on an end user license agreement, your docs is out there. I mean, really, if you guys vote, your docs is out there. Your voter records are public information. So if you ever donated, your shit's going to be public. Let's see here. Brianna Wu is just a donation sponge. That's not phrasing. Phrasing on that one. No. Please don't phrase that differently. Please say that differently. Please. Let's see here, guys. Boss man Jack fucks the judge who's a dude. Yeah, well, not forever. These boss man Jack users are tax-free. Yes, they are. Why is Nick stopped streaming? I mean, mainly because he's under the court said shut the fuck up. And I'm sure it's easier just not to, it's easier not to stream than risk violating the court order. But also, I mean, like, I'm sure he doesn't want to do it. Like, he says he's going through shit, whatever that means. So let's see here. Let's see. Rena's yes, he's gagged. Let me see here. What else? I think we're all caught up, chat. I think we're all caught up. So, like I said, is Rose going to survive? Yes, she will survive the motion to dismiss, which means we're then going into discovery. And I think that's where Destiny doesn't want to go. That's going to be very interesting when the depositions start flowing and people, because we won't necessarily get those right away, chat. We might get transcripts here and there. The bigger thing that we're going to find out, though, is, who gets subpoenaed, because that's not going to be sealed. Subpoenas themselves are generally not, like, maybe you could, I guess you could seal them possibly, but, like, why the fuck would you want to? I don't know. I don't think you would. So that'll be something, but we're going to get to that. And let me see here. Did I miss something? Haven King says court order. He's in another lawsuit. I mean, well, the restraining order case that Aaron has against him, because it's still in process of being litigated, the court has basically put a gag order on it for everybody. But will Alyssa Mercani survive? Oh, no, I think she's done. She's toast. Another says, I mean, Pxie, did I say Destiny's going to survive? Yes. Pxie will survive. She'll be able to go into Discovery, and I don't think Destiny wants that. Destiny is not looking forward to Discovery. He's going to have a tough time. Let's see here. But yeah, Alyssa Mercani, I think she's toast. They're begging to put off Discovery because they know they're going to get fucked here coming up. And as rightly they should. Alyssa's going to get BTFO'd, and I can't wait to see that. And she gets hit with the anti-slap motions. That'll be the best part for her. Aaron Yeager is saying, what is Discovery? So Discovery is where Pxie and Destiny, because Pixie's trying to prove things here, she has the right to request from Destiny what's called a request for production. All documents and items and things that will help support her claim that are in Destiny's possession. So she's allowed to request evidence from Destiny because Destiny's got all these communications. And she's allowed to request them. It's called Discovery because you're discovering things. And likewise, Destiny can request Discovery from Pxie saying, I think you're full of shit, and I want to see your documents and see if I can prove you're full of shit. So it's the exchanging of evidence is discovery, more or less. And that's like the 10,000 foot view. Both sides are exchanging their evidence. And then that's when, and that's where, places like CNN have settled with like Trump and other things. Discovery is very expensive, but the bigger thing about discovery is your secrets now get out. And it may not be related to your case, but somebody else may find your secrets. And you don't want people finding out your secrets. So you say, what can we do to avoid that? Yes, it's what Disney, the reason why Disney settled with Gina Carano. Once Gina Carano survived the motions to dismiss, Disney did not want to go through discovery because all their internal communications and policies, everything that they do would be leaked and be discovered by the world. So it's easy for them to go up to Gina and say, we'll write you a check, and go, shh, shh, and cut her a check. I hope that answers your question. So what about the court mooting Pxie's lawyer? Was Joan looking to extend the discovery timeline? No, but they asked for a stay of discovery while the protective order stuff was being discussed. So ultimately, this will moot the... I think that's what you're getting at here, Lou, unless I misunderstood you. It says, wouldn't Destiny deny knowing who Rose is? And couldn't Rose just not respond to Pxie's lawyers? Destiny could deny it, but he admitted to sharing them. So he knows who Rose is. Like, he knows who Rose is. Like, I know that you're a screen name. So I know who you are. I obviously don't know your real name, but I talked with you. I highlighted your comment. So I could say I've done those things. And could Rose not respond to the things out there? That's not going to work the way anybody, like, trying to hide this is not going to work for anybody here. You're saying, look at what the judge just mooted on the docket. Well, hold on here. Like, Lou, you're saying, look what the judge just mooted on the docket. Here is, we're going, I operate backwards order on Pacers, so we're at docket number 120. So the amended complaint was filed. Okay. That was today. The order granting leave was granted yesterday. The response here is why Destiny should not be held in contempt for sanctions. That's Brettler's response. There was the paper order denying moot. Okay, I'm sorry. You were looking at this one here. Okay. The order on miscellaneous relief here. We'll take a look at that. I see. Hold on here. Use Pacer. Keep going. Continue to Pacer. All right. Hold on here, chat. We'll bring this up. We'll read this one. Document can't be found. What the fuck? Hold on. It's not a paperless order, is it? Oh, it's a paperless order. So moot requiring requesting extension on order. Motion for protective order. Oh, okay, yeah. So that's what happened here. Okay, I'll show you. I know what you're looking at, Lou. I got you here. Okay, so you want to know what this thing is here. So what did she file on 115? So she filed on 115 saying, hey, look, we're requesting an order saying, Judge, please make a ruling. We really fucking need one. That's all she's doing here. And she goes through it. She talks about we exchange written we exchange written things. She says that she respectfully requests this honorable court enter an order on the motion for the protective order governing discovery so discovery can proceed. So that's why. That's what that was. And she's saying, Judge, please fucking make a decision. We filed this thing a while ago. So what happened? Well, if you look right before it, here, he did the order granting the protective order. So he's saying that the requested, like, please do something Well, you don't have to worry about that because guess what? I did the thing. And this all happened on the same day. So while she got impatient, the court's like, I already took care of it. Does that make sense? Does that make sense? I hope that does. If that doesn't make sense, let me know. Basically saying, I already decided, so this is done. I thought it was more than please do something. No. That happens. I've filed those motions. I've filed those motions before. I've done those where you're like, please, judge, we filed this, please. And you have to go, please do something. You have to be very nice about it. You're like, hey, judge, over here, hey, don't forget about us. Hey, but by the way, we filed that motion. Can you please get to it? But there have been times where both sides will file like a motion. And we're like, hey, judge, it's me, plaintiff and defendant. We're out here. We're kind of just hanging out. We, we know you're busy. We know you're a very busy guy, but can you, we would really appreciate it if you could, just address it, because then we could amongst ourselves figure out what we're doing. And you have to do that sometimes. Yeah. I thought it was something more than please do something. No, that's all it was. And there's nothing wrong with that, because when you look at what she did here, this isn't unreasonable, because she filed the September 2nd. Oh, God, that's too big still. She filed September 2nd. Docket number 82 was May 23rd. Like, that's a bit of time. Now, remember, there was a document in response. There was a motion in response to the protective order. But remember, there's all kinds of motions here to file all kinds of shit. But notice, even if Destiny and them responded, give until the end of July, let's just say, to get a response and then, a reply, it gets through the June. Okay, great. So it takes up the whole month of June, and that's not unreasonable. But then you have the entire month of July passes, and the entire month of August passes. So at this point now, she's saying, look, it's been over 2 months. It's been 2 months. Please give us an answer. And that's not unreasonable. Especially on, we stopped discovery to address this. Please fucking do it. And the discovery deadlines. We have discovery and expert witness deadlines that are approaching. Please let us get this done. And you're allowed to say, like, fucking help us, man. Help us. Oh, and by the way, before we get too far, apparently, I believe people are saying this is Destiny's Reddit. Yeah, well, looks like he kind of like nuked it, which I wonder how that's going to go for discovery purposes, but we'll find out. We'll find out. So I hope that answered your question. Let's see here. So he's a Redditor. Whoa, buddy. Yeah, you're surprised Destiny's a Redditor. Oh. So, guys, that is it for us. We're all caught up. We are all caught up on everything. I think that answers it for everybody here. And, honestly, like I said, Lou, like I read that before, and when I was reading and I just kind of blew through, I'm like, yeah, he ignored it. So that's why I didn't bother looking at it. Kiwi Farms just said he privated it rather than react it using Dan Saltman's service that collects your info that he then blackmails people with. Yeah, but I don't know how it's going to work. In your honest opinion, you think it's ever going to go to trial? No, this is going to settle. Either Pxie will be able to get the goods on Destiny and Destiny's going to get fucked, or I don't think this will go to trial. This is not one either side's going to want to go to trial. But both sides are going to want to do discovery. So that is what I can tell you. This shouldn't go to trial. This should resolve. Because both sides are not going to be sympathetic in trial. But good question, Aaron. Thank you for asking. All right, guys, with that said, we are all done. We are going to go, we're going to work on the model a little bit. We're going to work on the Blackhawk a little bit more. I think we're ready to start gluing some shit down. And then, can Rose be subpoenaed? 100% she can be. And there is an interstate compact on civil subpoenas. There's an interstate compact on that because generally you're only limited to what you do stuff here. But, you know, it's a federal court subpoena and there's all kinds of laws and things that extend subpoena service. So, yeah. But remember, it's in federal court, so you don't have to worry about that. It's going to be a federal subpoena. So we'll definitely finally get to see Rose. I mean, it sounds like it. Yeah, in person, yes. Yes, he finally get to meet her, but it'll be inside a courtroom. It'll be inside a deposition, so it'll be a little there. But yes, guys, we're going to keep working on the Blackhawk. Yes, Blackhawk Tua down your throat. So, guys, we are going to finish here. We are going to start that tomorrow. We're going to get into Trooper Proctor's final things. If Destiny goes to trial, it will be televised. No, because it's going to be in federal court. We will never see it. The most we'll get would be the courtroom sketches. That's the most we'd ever be allowed to get. So, yes. However you first message Destiny, it's going to be a whoa buddy moment. Yes, it will be. So, all right, chat. I will see you guys shortly over on the model channel here. I'll set that up right now. So, yeah, we will never see this. The only way you can go to the hearings is the only way you're going to do it is if you guys go to the court. You guys are going to have to go and watch. So, it's 11. We'll do 11:25. Upload thumbnails. Let me see. It's all a big mistake. Well, we'll find out, man. So, redirect? Yeah, I will redirect you guys over there. Oh, that's why I wouldn't do it. It wouldn't start me. All right, chat. So remember, until next time, everybody. Did Donna get railroaded? No, it sounds like she was a piece of shit, and they all murdered her. They all murdered that guy. They murdered her son-in-law. So, you know, it is what it is there. And you're talking about Donna Adelson, I think you're referring to. Yeah. Sounds like they were all awful people. So, let's see here. Content. So, hold on, chat. We got to put this together. Oh, by the way, chat, we passed 26,800 subs. So, thank you guys all for your part. I appreciate the support over this entire time. We're almost to 27,000. Almost to 27,000. Is Wendy Adelson next? I don't know if they're going to charge her or do anything with her. Wendy is next? Oh, okay. I didn't know she had been charged. I didn't really know who was who for what. So. All right, chat. We're all done. And I will see you guys until next time. Remember, just because you did it does not mean you're guilty. And like I said, Pxie survives the motion to dismiss. We are going into discovery with this. So that's what I can tell you. That's what I can tell you. Who's going to win yet? I don't know. But we are going to get to discovery. And that's a shame. Says, woo, congrats. Well, thank you. And I will see you guys later.
Weapons, blacksmithing, and models of planes, esoteric works, and even some trains. Much merriment had while drinking White Claws, tips on hunting, and even talking the law. Whatever you do, just don't talk to cops, even when they nab you on illegal stops. Just 'cause you did it doesn't mean you're guilty, but please talk to a local attorney.